Have you ever noticed how the harder you chase something, the more it seems to slip away from you? You push, you strive, you go after your dreams with everything you've got. But what if I told you that the moment you stop chasing is the moment everything you've been working for starts coming to you effortlessly? It's like a magnet. The more you try to pull, the more it pushes away. But what happens when you just let go? The magnet pulls everything towards you without any force, drawing what you need naturally. Or think of a plant in the garden, constantly watered, constantly checked, but never left to grow at its own pace. You can water it all day, but it's only when you step back and trust the process that the plant flourishes on its own. That's the power of surrendering to the natural flow. Because while you're busy chasing, you have a choice. Keep forcing things, or trust that what's meant for you will come in its own time. When you stop forcing, that's when the flow begins. The moment you stop struggling, you'll start attracting everything you desire with ease. So, how do you manifest your desires without obsessing over when or how they'll come, without chasing, without forcing, and without stressing over every little detail? Stay with me, because the last piece will change everything. Let's dive in. Number 1, detach from the outcome. Let's explore one of the most powerful shifts you can make in your approach to life, detaching from the outcome. It's easy to get caught up in the results, whether it's landing a job, reaching a personal goal, or building a relationship. We often think that if we focus hard enough, we can control the outcome. But here's the truth. The more you obsess over results, the more resistance you create. When you are fixated on the end result, you create pressure that limits your ability to take inspired, calm action. True power comes from focusing on the process, your actions, and your mindset, not the outcome. Here's the reality. When you focus only on results, you disconnect from the present moment. Every action you take should be rooted in the belief that your effort is enough. The moment you start obsessing over how and when things will happen, you introduce stress and resistance into the equation. Instead of being present, you're living in anxiety, trying to control something that's beyond your influence. When you detach from the outcome, you shift your focus to what you can control, your actions and your responses. This allows you to move through life with more ease, more clarity, and more confidence. This is where Stoic wisdom comes in. Epictetus once said, "Do not seek for things to happen the way you want them to. Rather, wish that what happens as it should, and you will be happy." Think about that for a moment. True happiness comes from accepting life as it is, without needing it to unfold exactly as you want it. It's about trusting that everything is happening in its own time, according to a bigger plan, and that what's meant for you will come naturally when the time is right. When you let go of your attachment to the outcome, you release the mental clutter and allow yourself to enjoy the process. Let me share a story. A friend of mine, let's call her Lily, was deeply focused on achieving a specific career milestone. Every day, she worked tirelessly, but no matter how much effort she put in, things weren't moving as fast as she had hoped. She was frustrated and exhausted, constantly wondering why things weren't happening faster. One day, a mentor advised her, "Focus on doing your best every day and detach from the outcome. Trust that it will happen when it's meant to." Lily took that advice to heart. She stopped obsessing over the when and how and focused on being the best version of herself each day. Over time, opportunities began to align, and things fell into place with ease. So, how do you detach from the outcome? First, focus on your actions. Give your best effort without getting attached to when the results will show. Second, let go of perfection. Trust that what happens is meant to happen. And finally, stay present. Don't get lost in the future. Trust the process and the timing of life. At the end of the day, detaching from the outcome allows you to embrace the journey, focus on your actions, and let go of the need for control. When you do this, you'll find that the results you desire come naturally and effortlessly. Number 2, master your mindset. Let's dive into a powerful truth. Your thoughts shape your reality. Every day, we're bombarded with distractions, worries, and external pressures, but the most important thing you can control in life is your mindset. When you master your thoughts, you gain control over how you experience the world. A calm, focused mind has the power to attract solutions effortlessly, while a scattered, reactive mind can keep you trapped in frustration and confusion. Here's the reality. A positive, calm mindset doesn't mean ignoring challenges. It means approaching them with clarity and purpose. Life isn't always easy, but how you respond to challenges defines your experience. When your mind is clear, you become more creative, more resourceful, and more open to opportunities. You stop reacting from fear or stress and start responding with calm, collected power. This shift allows you to see solutions where others see obstacles. This is where Stoic wisdom comes in. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." Think about that. Your happiness isn't dependent on your circumstances. It's dependent on how you interpret them. When you control your thoughts, you control your perception. And when you control your perception, you shape your experience. The quality of your thoughts is the foundation upon which everything else is built. If your mind is filled with negativity, doubt, or worry, it's going to be much harder to manifest success or feel at peace. But if your thoughts are grounded in clarity, optimism, and focus, you'll find yourself moving toward the life you want with ease. Let me share a story. A woman I know, let's call her Rachel, had always struggled with stress. She was always racing against the clock, overwhelmed by work, and constantly anxious about the future. One day, she decided to change her approach. Instead of letting stress dictate her actions, she focused on mastering her mindset. She started practicing mindfulness, taking time each day to quiet her mind and reframe her thoughts. Instead of worrying about everything that could go wrong, she focused on what she could control: her actions, her responses, and her attitude. Over time, her stress began to fade. Opportunities appeared where she once saw only roadblocks, and she began to see challenges as opportunities to grow, not obstacles to avoid. So, how do you master your mindset? First, become aware of your thoughts. Start paying attention to what's running through your mind. Are you thinking positively, or are you feeding yourself negativity? Second, reframe your thinking. Instead of thinking, "This is too hard, try. This is a challenge I'm going to overcome." And finally, stay grounded in the present. When you focus on what you can control in the here and now, the future becomes much less overwhelming. At the end of the day, a calm and focused mind is your greatest asset. When you master your thoughts, you master your life. So, take control of your mindset, and you'll find that solutions, opportunities, and peace come to you naturally. Your reality is shaped by the quality of your thoughts. Choose them wisely. If you found this valuable, hit like and subscribe for more powerful insights. Number 3, trust in divine timing. Let's talk about one of the most important principles in life: trusting in divine timing. It's easy to get caught up in the rush, especially when we want something badly. We push, we hurry, we try to force things to happen. But here's the truth: rushing leads to mistakes. When we rush, we miss the lessons, the details, and sometimes even the opportunities that would have helped us grow. It's in the stillness, in the waiting, that the most profound changes happen. When you trust in the process, You give life the space to unfold at the right time. Here's the reality. Everything unfolds at the right time when you remain patient. The problem is, most of us are conditioned to expect instant results. We live in a world where everything is fast food, fast information, instant gratification. But some things, the truly important things, can't be rushed. They need time to develop, to grow, and to mature. Just like planting a seed, if you rush the process, you damage the potential for it to bloom. But if you trust in the timing of nature, in the divine order of things, you will see the beauty of everything coming together when it's meant to. This is where Stoic wisdom comes in. Epictetus once said, "No great thing is created suddenly." That's a powerful reminder. The things that are truly worth having, whether it's success, wisdom, relationships, or even personal growth, don't happen overnight. They require patience, persistence, and trust. You don't need to rush or force anything. Just keep doing the right things, keep showing up, and know that the right opportunities will come at the right time. The universe has a way of working things out when you stop trying to control everything. Let me share a story. A friend of mine, let's call her Sophie, was obsessed with achieving success in her career. She worked tirelessly, pushing herself harder and harder, trying to make things happen on her own terms. But the more she rushed, the more frustrated she became. Every door seemed to close, and she felt like she wasn't making progress. One day, she decided to take a step back. She stopped forcing things and began focusing on her growth, instead improving her skills, building her network, and trusting that things would unfold when the time was right. Over time, opportunities started appearing naturally. What she had once forced now seemed to flow effortlessly into her life. Sophie realized that when she let go of the need to rush, she opened herself up to the right timing. So, how do you trust in divine timing? First, let go of the need for control. Stop trying to force things to happen when they're not ready. Second, focus on your growth, not the outcome. Invest in yourself and trust that the right opportunities will present themselves when you're ready. And finally, be patient. Understand that everything has its time, and rushing only leads to frustration. At the end of the day, trusting in divine timing is an act of faith. When you let go and allow life to unfold, you create the space for the right things to come to you. Don't rush the process. Trust that everything will happen when it's meant to. Number 4, act with purpose, not desperation. Let's talk about the difference between acting with purpose and acting out of desperation. It's easy to get caught in the rush, especially when you feel like time is running out or that success is just beyond your reach. In these moments, the temptation to act out of desperation can be strong. You push, you chase, you scramble for results. But here's the truth: desperation repels success. When you act out of fear or urgency, you only attract more of the same frustration, confusion, and missed opportunities. True success comes when you act with calm, consistent purpose, not out of frantic energy. Here's the reality: calm, consistent action draws success toward you. Success doesn't come from force. It comes from steady movement in the right direction. When you know where you're going and take purposeful steps, success will follow naturally. It's not about rushing or trying to outpace everyone else. It's about moving with clarity, confidence, and intention. When you move with a clear purpose, you magnetize success, and people can feel that calm confidence. Desperation, on the other hand, always leaves a mark. People can sense it when you're just trying to get ahead quickly, and it doesn't inspire trust or attraction. This is where Stoic wisdom comes in. Epictetus once said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." This is the essence of purposeful action. It's about first knowing who you want to become, your vision, your values, your purpose, and then taking the actions that align with that. When you align your actions with your inner purpose, your steps become more confident and focused. You're no longer moving out of desperation, but from a place of deep alignment and belief in yourself. Let me share a story. A man I know, let's call him Jack, was struggling in his career. He was pushing hard, trying to get noticed, chasing opportunities left and right. But no matter what he did, he wasn't seeing the results he wanted. One day, he realized something. He had been acting from desperation. He was so focused on getting ahead that he wasn't focusing on the why behind his actions. Once he took a step back, he started acting with more purpose. He got clear on what he wanted, set goals based on his values, and began taking consistent, thoughtful steps. Over time, the opportunities started to come to him, and they felt aligned with who he was becoming, not just with what he was chasing. So, how do you act with purpose instead of desperation? First, get clear on who you want to be. Take a moment to define your values and your vision. Second, trust the process. Focus on taking one step at a time, knowing that each action is moving you closer to your goal. And finally, move with quiet confidence. Let go of the need to rush and trust that success will come when you align your actions with your purpose. At the end of the day, purposeful action is the key to long-term success. When you act with calm, steady intention, you create the space for success to flow to you naturally. Move with purpose, not desperation, and watch how everything starts to align in your favor. If you've watched the video this far, don't forget to leave a comment with a "Thank God" and give it a like if you enjoyed the content. Your support means a lot and motivates me to keep creating more interesting videos. I hope you find inspiration in them and that we continue learning together. Thank you for your support. Number 5. Let go of control. Let's talk about one of the most liberating concepts you can embrace: letting go of control. In a world where we're constantly trying to control every outcome, every situation, and every person around us, it's easy to get caught in the cycle of worry. We worry about the things we can't change, obsess over what might go wrong, and stress over what's beyond our reach. But here's the truth: worrying over what you can't control is wasted energy. You can't control other people's actions, the future, or even the weather. What you can control is yourself, your actions, your mindset, and your response to the world around you. Here's the reality: when you focus on mastering yourself, you free yourself from the weight of trying to control everything else. The more you try to control the uncontrollable, the more stressed and overwhelmed you become. But when you focus on your own growth, your own responses, and your own peace of mind, everything else falls into place. You stop wasting energy on things that don't matter, and you start living with more clarity, calm, and purpose. Instead of spinning in circles, trying to control the uncontrollable, you move forward with intention, knowing that your power lies in how you respond, not in how the world behaves. This is where Stoic wisdom comes in. Epictetus once said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life." It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. Think about that. True freedom doesn't come from controlling the world. It comes from letting go of the need to control it. When you stop worrying about what you can't change, you create the space to live fully in what you can influence. You stop reacting out of fear and start responding with calm wisdom and focus. Let me share a story. A woman I know, let's call her Anna, was always anxious about the future. She'd worry about things that were beyond her control, like how others would perceive her or what would happen in her career. The more she worried, the more paralyzed she became and the less progress she made. One day, she decided to shift her mindset. Instead of trying to control every outcome, she focused on mastering her reactions and taking control over her daily actions. She worked on being present, being intentional, and letting go of the need to micromanage her life. Slowly but surely, she started feeling more at peace. Opportunities came to her effortlessly, and she realized that when she let go of control, life flowed in ways she hadn't expected. So, how do you let go of control? First, focus on what you can control: your thoughts, your actions, and your responses. Second, release the need to have everything go according to plan. Trust that what's meant for you will unfold naturally. And finally, embrace the unknown. Understand that life is unpredictable, and that's okay. At the end of the day, true freedom comes from releasing the need to control everything around you. When you focus on mastering yourself, you open yourself up to peace, growth, and the flow of life. Let go of control and watch how much lighter life feels. Number 6, embody the energy of abundance. Let's talk about one of the most powerful shifts you can make in your life: embodying the energy of abundance. So often, we find ourselves chasing after what we think we lack. We are constantly striving for more money, more success, more recognition. But here's the truth: instead of chasing what you lack, live as if you already have it. When you live in the energy of abundance, you stop focusing on what's missing and start focusing on what's already available to you. This simple mindset shift transforms your perspective and opens you up to new opportunities. Here's the reality: living as if you already have what you desire shifts your entire reality. When you believe you already possess the abundance you seek, you begin to act in alignment with that belief. You become more confident, more focused, and more receptive to opportunities. Instead of waiting for something external to change before you feel abundant, you tap into the internal energy of abundance, and this inner wealth attracts more of what you desire into your life, because you're no longer coming from a place of scarcity or lack. This is where Stoic wisdom comes in. Epictetus once said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." Think about that. True wealth isn't about accumulating things. It's about how little you actually need. When you cultivate an attitude of abundance, you realize that you already have everything you need to create the life you want. This shift from scarcity to abundance frees you from the constant chase, allowing you to appreciate what's already in your life and to trust that more is always on its way. Let me share a story. A man I know, let's call him James, was always striving for more. He believed that once he achieved a certain goal, once he had a certain amount of money or success, then he would feel complete. But the more he chased, the further away fulfillment seemed. One day, he stopped. He decided to live as if he already had everything he needed. He started practicing gratitude for what he already had: his health, his relationships, his skills, and slowly, he realized something powerful. The more he embraced the energy of abundance, the more opportunities flowed to him. He began to attract the very things he had been chasing, but without the desperation or anxiety. The moment he embodied abundance, the universe started to mirror that energy back to him. So, how do you embody the energy of abundance? First, practice gratitude. Focus on what you already have rather than what you lack. Second, let go of attachment to outcomes. Trust that what's meant for you will come, and act as though it's already yours. And finally, shift your mindset. Start living with the belief that you are already abundant, and watch how your reality starts to reflect that belief. At the end of the day, true abundance comes from within. When you stop chasing what you think you lack and start living from a place of already having it, you shift your energy and attract everything you desire. Embody the energy of abundance and watch how your life transforms. Number 7, take aligned action and let go. Let's talk about one of the most powerful ways to move forward in life, taking aligned action and then letting go. Too often, we fall into the trap of doing everything we can to force results. We push, we stress, and we try to control the outcome, believing that if we work harder or worry more, things will happen faster. But here's the truth. Do the work, then release the need for immediate results. The more you focus on forcing things to happen, the more resistance you create. True success comes from taking purposeful action, then letting go of the attachment to how or when the results will show up. Here's the reality. What's meant for you will come naturally when you release the need to control the timing. When you align your actions with your purpose, you're already moving in the right direction. The key is to stay consistent, trust the process, and have patience. The results you're hoping for will come in their own time, and sometimes they'll come in a way you never expected. The universe doesn't work on your timeline, it works on its own. So, the more you let go of the need to control everything, the more smoothly things will flow in your life. This is where Stoic wisdom comes in. Seneca once said, "Effort and patience will achieve more than force and anxiety." Think about that for a moment. The Stoics knew that effort without anxiety, patience without desperation, brings more peace and greater results. When you're constantly pushing, stressing, and worrying, you're only creating mental clutter that blocks your progress. But when you let go of anxiety and trust the process, the results will come naturally, and you'll find that success isn't as far away as you thought. Let me share a story. A woman I know, let's call her Grace, was struggling to grow her business. She was working long hours, chasing every opportunity, and constantly worrying about her success. But the harder she worked, the more stressed she became, and the less she saw the results she wanted. One day, a mentor of hers gave her a piece of advice. Take the aligned action you know is right. Then, let go of the outcome. Trust that what's meant for you will come. Grace started focusing on doing the work with intention and stopped worrying about when things would change. Within a few months, things started to fall into place. Opportunities came naturally, and she realized that the key was not in forcing the results, but in trusting the process. So, how do you take aligned action and let go? First, focus on what you can control. Take the actions that align with your values and trust that the rest will fall into place. Second, practice patience. Understand that results take time, and the right outcomes will come when they're meant to. And finally, release the need to control everything. Let go of the outcome and trust that what's meant for you is already on its way. At the end of the day, effort and patience will always yield better results than force and anxiety. Take aligned action, then let go of the rest, and watch how everything starts to unfold naturally. Success will come when you stop chasing it and simply trust the process.